So we all know that the Warriors haven't been having the greatest season, as they've dealt with a lot of things such as the Chris Paul injury, Klay Thompson's regression, haircut Kuminga who was begging for playtime, and then Draymond Ali who was delivering first round knockouts. Through all of this, one guy has always remained focused and put this team on his back, and that is Steph Curry. After erupting for 11 3-pointers versus the Pacers the other night, going 6 for 6 to open up the game, and then hitting this cold-blooded game winner against the Phoenix Suns, it's almost like Steph Curry is impossible to scheme against. He can be a threat at any time in a possession because with his movement without the ball, if you fall asleep for even the slightest moment, he's already catching it in the shooting pocket in the corner, and the contest from Devin Booker is just too late. Keeping up with him when he's moving off the ball is one of the hardest things to do because at times he'll make it look like he's relaxing, but that's when he catches you and bursts around the screen to receive the pass and knocks down the 3 through the contact while not even watching it fall through. As a defender, you don't want to let him get into these fires directly off the catch, as Steph drains 47% of his 5 attempts off the catch per game. Yeah, that's quite ridiculous, right? But when you watch the film, you can see exactly why this is. Not only is Steph the best shooter the NBA has ever seen, he has some of the best court navigation as well. It's almost like he has the ball on the string on some of these plays, as he can still break the defender's ankles to then run them into the screen on the handoff, and it's a money ball. Honestly, you just have to stay attached to Curry at all times, because with so many ways he can move into the open space, if you get separated from him for even a second, that could be all he needs. As he receives his pin down at the elbow, since Nembhard gets stuck underneath Draymond, Curry is able to flare out instead to let it fly from deep. Some of you might say, well, the defender just needs to fight over the screen, but let me show you something. When Cade tries to get around Kuminga, Steph is already one step ahead of him and cuts back towards the corner, so now with this gap between him and Cunningham, he can line it up for 3 points. Super simple, yet very effective. For most guys around the league, chasing a defender around the court constantly can be exhausting and even cause confusion between the defenders. So before they know it, it's another 3 dropping in from Curry. It's very quick on this action here, but you'll see Curry pass it back out to the perimeter and immediately get out behind the line. But since KD relaxes for that split second, it opens up this wide open 3, and although Curry does miss it, he stays put right where he is, and with the best shooter, you're not going to miss from the same spot twice, and he knocks it down. That play right there shows you the movement and focus because it's not easy to stay running around the floor to get open, and it's also not easy to pull up immediately off the run to then drain the shot over a defender closing out. Now the reason the shooting on the go is so important is because not only is it another layer the defense has to worry about, but it makes his skill set even more deadly. I know you might say those two are the same thing, but let me explain. When he's running off ball to fire it up, this takes you being able to receive the ball in rhythm and releasing it quickly. But when you're getting into a pull-up, it's going to take creating space from the defense with his handle and then the ability to knock down tougher shots off the dribble. On pull-up 3s this season, Steph is draining 38% of his 6 attempts per game, so by being effective off either option, you don't have to rely on one or the other to get you opportunities. That handle of his can be so sharp and quick that it shifts defenders totally out his way, and now open from deep, he can launch it to connect on the 4-point play. Since he has that ball on a string like a yo-yo like we mentioned earlier, you don't want to be chasing him when he has a live dribble because the abrupt snatch into the step back creates a big enough gap for Curry and you're left watching it go through the net. These snatches with his handle can be lethal, but when he starts tying in these step backs as well, it gives Curry nothing but time and opportunity to get into his motion. Looks like that are pretty much automatic for Curry because he's used to shooting with a little amount of space, so when he delivers these step backs and neither defender is immediately out on him, this 3 to 5 foot gap is way too much space to be giving him, and it's butter. Just so you can see it again, when he comes off this high screen from Draymond, with Nurkic out in front of him and Devin Booker trailing, Steph can serve this step back to get away from Nurkic, and with Devin Booker still being too far over, it's bombs away. It's honestly like Steph's just picking apart the defense, because if the big plays drop coverage instead of hedging hard, then he'll immediately be able to get his shot off. Sometimes it'll look like the defense is high enough, but when Curry starts going downhill, Valanciunas makes the fatal mistake of backpedaling, and guess what? Curry is awarded the open 3. Yeah, it's just too much you have to worry about when you're guarding Curry out there, because if the defender decides to hedge hard, his man can slip behind them and Curry can dime it right down the middle for Payton to slam it home. So pick your poison, hedge the screen and hope for other guys to rotate over, or you can sit back and possibly give up a wide open 3. There's really not many ways to get Curry out of rhythm, as if you try to gamble on the steal and reach, then he'll be sure to teach. And let's say the defender does hound him on the 3, well, Curry can push towards the rim and then pull back on Suggs for the cash midi. This high level of shooting is amazing and causes the defense so many problems every night. Sure, him scoring points from deep is the obvious reason why his shooting is valuable, but it opens up other aspects of his game as well. Defenders will always be aware of his shooting from the outside, so now this is when he can get to the rim to get a bucket. A lot of people don't give Curry enough credit for how well he finishes inside, as on all cutting layups, Steph converts 86% of his 22 attempts, and on all driving layups, he sinks 52% of his 135 attempts. Now, am I going as far to say that Steph will shred your defense with his inside scoring? Nah, not really. But if you do let him get in his groove, then his touch around the rim and ability to navigate inside can cause issues for the other team. If you look towards the top of your screen here, Steph runs Murray off this screen at the top of the key, but as you can see, Murray goes under and expects Steph to go out to the 3, so now Curry's able to dart right past him for the bucket inside. Often the defenders are expecting Curry to go out towards the 3, so when it looks like this pin down is being set for Curry, when he beelines towards the rim instead, this catches Reeves off guard and now Curry can toss this off the glass. You'll see these times where Curry's able to launch off his initial defender, but with the help being right there, Curry's not able to get to the rim. But this is where that elite shooting comes in handy, and he can stop and pop for the mid-range bucket. If you actually slow down some of these plays, you'll see that Curry can use the defender's body against himself to gain the advantage, and now it's an and 1. Coming up the floor versus the Grizzlies, Curry slows down to then lean into the defender's body as if he's waiting to receive this screen up top, but hey, the trick's on the defense, as when Green receives the ball, the paint is wide open, and now Steph can release off his defender for the warm-up lay. This ability to use his body and the defenders to get the separation is key for Curry to get easy looks inside, and when he drops the ball, this is something that stands out. As he pushes towards the rim from the sideline, Curry can see the defender recovering to contest at the rim, so he angles his jump into the defense to take away the contest and instead turn into an and 1. This physical play of his is so sneaky and crafty that sometimes you don't even notice it. But when we slow it down, here you can see Curry get that off-arm into Sabonis to just move him out the way, and then he goes to the right side of the rim to avoid the block from Murray. Trust me, he's not weak when it comes to going to the lane, as he'll take it right at the defender's chest, absorb that contact, and still convert the bucket. I know a lot of people don't think of driving the ball when you bring up Steph's name, but he can muscle his way inside to score the ball, and not only that, he can connect on some tough lays inside. Using that handle we talked about earlier, when Vanderbilt pressures him up tight, Steph can reject the screen and shake Vanderbilt with this crossover, and when LeBron shifts over to help, Curry can split right through the middle of the defense, avoiding all contact to flip this up and in. It truly doesn't matter whether he's mixing up a guard or a big, Steph will find his way to get his feet in that paint, and now it's all about focus to toss this in while falling down. With so many ways to dismantle the defense, Steph Curry is practically impossible to scheme against and gives the defense a ton of problems. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to drop a like before heading out. I thank you all for your support, and I'll see you in the next video.